All right, welcome everybody to Business Balance and Beyond. Today we are joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Christian Coram. Christian, thank you so much for being here. Christian is a realtor and he is also a general contractor that focuses on the side of electrical, which is really cool to have that combination. So, Christian, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, by the way. So I have been in the construction industry, electrician, if you want to call it that, for 25 plus years now.
Hmm.
Started out like most electricians do, got a job with an electrical company, and started the apprenticeship program from there, and uh, started out with a small company who kind of just did a little bit of everything, a little bit of commercial work, a little bit of residential, and worked with them for a while. Switched companies, ended up at a company. Actually, worked at two different companies where they did a lot of
Yeah,
um, production type stuff. So. New construction homes,
yeah.
so a lot of the same thing over and over. Also worked for another company that did a lot of apartment homes,
Okay.
so a lot buildings. So it was um, the same thing over and over, same floor plans again,
Hmm.
again, 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 that type of thing. So, yeah, and then all throughout that time, have also done a lot of other things in the construction
Yeah,
realm. A lot of remodel type work, if you want to call it
yeah.
that. Got my general contractor's license 6 or so years ago now. Done several different jobs on my own like that, kitchen remodel,
Yeah.
bathroom remodels, that type of thing. So I know a little bit of some of the other things, paint, drywall, tile work,
Hmm.
a little bit of that type of stuff, but mainly specializing in electrical.
That's awesome. So, what
Yeah.
made you decide to transition or add, if you will, on in the real estate world?
Yeah. So a couple, 2, 3 years ago now, I started noticing that I was getting a little older, and the body wasn't doing the same things as
Uh
it
huh.
used to anymore. And I thought, well, maybe it's time for me to start looking into other things where it's not such a burden on the body.
Yeah.
And it just seemed to make sense. Like I'm in houses, like I did a lot of service work in my career with electrical and construction, and it just made sense. Like I'm in houses all the time,
Uh
in and
huh.
out of houses all day long, and it just seemed to make a lot of sense for me to go into something else that included houses.
Mm-hmm.
And also, obviously, trying to find something that wasn't so hard on my body. And I had a recent friend who had gotten her license
Yeah.
a year or so before, and I thought, well, maybe I'll look into that. So looked into it and thought, okay, this could be good. I can use a lot of my knowledge here
Yeah.
to transition over. And so started taking all the courses I could
Yeah.
to take the classes and get my license, and took about 3 4 months, but
Yeah. That's
yeah,
incredible. I mean, obviously, most of the people watching this know that I came from the world of physical therapy, and
yeah,
it was just for different reasons. But again, that transition is a big part of it. Is what's best for our life moving forward and what's going on to the next thing, right?
hmm,
So, great job in seeing that, and then also jumping on it because the hardest thing sometimes is just starting.
oh for sure,
Right.
yeah,
And so one of the things I want to talk about is because of your experience, let's touch on a couple things first,
sure.
but what is something that you would see as one of the most common issues in electrical work in somebody's home?
Oh man, there are quite a few, but oh gosh, what's the one I want to pick first? A lot of times it's people are overusing their outlets.
Mm,
So, everybody knows you can go to the hardware store or
yeah.
whatever and you can get these outlets that plug in and they give you like eight more or
Yep.
whatever,
We got them
right?
on the desk over here.
Right. Yeah. So, and everybody's seen them. It's so you can plug in 4,000 different things.
Uh-huh.
So you can have this going and that going and all that. And a lot of times they can get overused.
Hmm.
If people aren't quite understanding of how much power is being
Yeah.
used, each device is using, they don't realize how much heat that can create.
Okay.
And obviously, can melt the plug,
Uh-huh.
cause fires, that type of thing. So I see that quite a bit. I see that quite a bit with little space heaters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Takes a
So
lot of power.
yes, it does. Anything that creates heat requires a lot of power.
Uh-huh.
So, and I see it more with the seniors uh, in the community.
Uh-huh.
The older we get, the more colder.
Yeah, that's my wife right now. She's not even old.
Right. So, yeah, they tend to plug in that heater and they want it right by their chair, right in the
Yep.
living room. And I see it happen all the time. It melts the plug and causes the whole circuit to go out most of the time. So, if not a fire in some cases.
Okay.
So that's a big one. And another one is just things getting old. So like a lot of people don't know that after 30 years, we always recommend that you upgrade your electrical panel. So once it gets to an age of 30 years, even though if it's still working and everything, it's just a matter of the technology and
Right.
safety and everything being
Makes sense.
upgraded. So that type of thing. So yeah, I would say plugs being overused and just upgrading your equipment after
panel.
age. Yeah.
No, that's fair. So when you got, I mean, this may plug right back into that, but when, pun intended, or whatever, but when you're going through a home with somebody, what are a couple of the things that you would look for as a realtor, knowing your electrical background, that say, hey, this is either a red flag or something that we really need to take note of as we're going to make an offer?
Yeah. So one of the first things I look at is the age of the electrical system. So I'm not just looking at the electrical panel itself. I'm actually looking at what they call the outside service equipment.
Okay.
So a lot of people might know it as like your meter base.
Yep.
There's depending on the type of service, there will be like a pipe that comes out at the top of your meter base, and your line comes in from the power company and hooks up to it. You can tell if you're an experienced person in the electrical field, you can tell the age of those things just
Right.
by looking at them. So if they're older, they may not necessarily be a red flag. They might be like a yellow flag.
Okay.
Like, it's not necessarily that it's a horrible thing or bad. It's just that it's like, okay, this is something we need to have on our radar that might need upgraded or changed out soon. Panels, definitely. When I see certain brands
Yeah.
of panels, it's like, oh, those are well-known fire hazards. We need to get that taken out really
Address it.
quickly. If it's a fuse panel at all, like the old screw-in
Oh, yeah, I've
style,
seen them.
it needs to go. Yeah. A big one that a lot of people know about just because it's been such a thing with insurance and actually a lot of lenders
Yeah.
like yourself have to be aware of it is knob and tube wiring in a
Yep.
home. So if a house has knob and tube wiring, especially in the last 5 years, a lot of insurance companies are saying,
Yeah.
nope, we're not insuring it. So those are definitely, knob and tubes, probably one of those you would call red flag.
Yeah.
Fuse panel, I'd probably call that right on the edge of red flag, if not orange.
Yeah.
So yeah, things like that. And then, normally when you're walking through a home and if everything's fairly put together, you're not going to notice too much about the electrical. You may see old lights, you may see old plugs, old two-prong plugs. That's going to give you an idea of the electrical system in the house. One of the big things I see that's not a good sign is when whoever has come in to do work on the house, excuse me, has painted over the plugs, especially when it's been like multiple layers. You can't get your plug to push into the outlet. That's not a good sign, obviously. So yeah,
I've seen that a few different times. I think it's important to, and again, I'm going to guess that makes it a fire hazard too.
It definitely can. If you're trying to push something into that electrical outlet, and if the prongs of the outlet are pushing something foreign that aren't supposed to be into the outlet, it can cause a fire hazard. Yeah.
Well, and I think a lot of people think of electrical work and they're just like, oh, that's just part of the housing process. But I think there's a lot more to it when we talk about safety, right? When we talk about those red flags, because the last thing you want to be doing is sleeping at night and then have a house fire, right? And when it's something that could be avoided by updating your system, updating your panel, making sure that you're not painting over plugs, right? And not overheating everything. And I think that's super valuable to know is if you want to maintain things, just like you would maintain a car, maintain it, your body, and going to the gym, again, you want to maintain your electrical system, and I think that's
Absolutely.
so important. And I could say too, one of the things for you as a realtor as well is being able to see the value in going into what I refer to as like a cosmetic flip. Somebody going
Yeah.
into a home and they're like, "Oh gosh, I don't know about this one because that light is ugly," and you're like, "Listen, we can fix that really easy."
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
What would you say is one of the biggest things you see from quick fixes in the electrical world that add a lot of value?
Yeah, so I get this a lot because I work with all different kinds of clients. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
investor clients that are
Yeah.
specifically doing this, flipping homes and things like that. The biggest things that I can tell you that are quick, easy, not too expensive value add for electrical systems are lighting.
Yeah.
Lighting is going to be your biggest one. I mean, you can add, now it used to be called can lighting. Now it's just called, they're not actually a can anymore. They're just an LED light
Mm-hmm.
that looks similar to the old style can, but that's probably the most popular thing
Yeah.
right now is just adding LED, quote unquote can lighting. Anytime that you can put ceiling fans in the bedrooms, that's a good one. And then a lot of people are liking the under cabinet LED lighting in the
Yep.
kitchens. So when they can flip on those lights and it lights up
The
the
whole thing.
countertop area,
Yep.
people are really liking that as well.
Does have a
So
nice look
yeah,
to it.
yeah.
And I can say, from speaking from experience, I've actually had Christian go into one of our rental homes
Oh yes, I
and
forgot
do
about that.
this.
Yeah.
And again, even looking at the before and after is pretty significant.
Hmm.
And we essentially did a cosmetic flip on this
Yeah.
property where we just redid the flooring, we painted, we put in new countertops, but we were
Hmm.
looking at it, we're like, no, it needs one more touch. And again, Christian came in and knocked out, we did two bathroom vanity lights, we did I think two ceiling fans and then a couple different hallway lights,
Yeah.
and it looked completely different
Yeah. It,
after all the other updates
yeah.
too.
Yeah. It's kind of amazing what just swapping out some lights can do for a house.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you uh, if you're one of those you like to kind of stick with a theme and run it through the entire house. You can walk through a house in the beginning and be like, oh yeah, okay, it's fine. And then once all the new lights are in, you're like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
wow, this is looking, it adds a touch to it for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, you did a fantastic job, and again, I can
Thank
attest to
you.
that personally. And so, Christian, one, I think this is one of those things I want to ask this because I hear this a lot
Hmm.
because a lot of people want to go install ceiling fans on their own.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Hmm.
I have an idea of what you're going to say, maybe,
Sure.
but I think this is important for people to recognize. What is the risk of installing on your own versus having somebody as a licensed professional that has done a bunch of these?
Sure, sure. Yeah. So the risk, obvious, the main thing, the main risk is you getting shocked and hurting yourself.
Uh huh.
So
Yeah.
if you're not aware enough to turn off the power first, which every instruction booklet, manual, anything
Turn
electrical
off the
tells you,
power.
go turn off the power. So yeah, go turn off the power first. That's the biggest risk. And then the next risk is if you aren't following those instructions to the T, if you miss a step, forget a
Mm-hmm.
step, forget a screw. Sometimes one screw is very pivotal
Uh
to
huh.
something like a ceiling fan that
Uh huh.
moves. Um, that's where a little bit more risk comes in. Um, the h- the main benefit really to hiring a professional is um, they've probably done it more times than they can count.
Mm-hmm.
They can probably do it in their sleep,
Yeah.
and they're going to do it probably far faster,
Yeah.
just because of experience and times
Mm-hmm.
doing it, reps. So, it really, it's like if there's even a least bit of doubt of like, oh, I could do it, but this or that, just hire the
Right.
professional. He's going to come in, he's going to save you the headache of having to worry about how to put the thing together,
Yeah.
how it's installed properly. He's going to do it in a quarter of the time possibly,
Yep.
and just
Probably
just
quicker.
save you all the headache. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember looking at those specific when we did it. I was like, bro, this is gonna take me forever if I try to do this,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna definitely screw something up. But I will say one of the values and what we're kind of seeing as we're talking
Mm,
about this and with you, Christian, is there's so much value in having somebody who's been in the trades,
yeah.
working with electrical as a realtor, because that secondary value is just it's hard to compete with. And
That's true.
for you specifically, your ability to look at somebody and give them a quote pretty much and say, hey, I
Yeah.
know this is going to cost us the product price plus, X amount of dollars to be able to do this.
Right.
So when we're making our offer, potentially we change some of that to be able to adjust for that appropriately.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I can walk my clients through a house, and um, typically I try not to say too much when I'm walking a client through a house in
Hmm.
the first go around,
Yeah,
because I want to hear their thoughts first.
absolutely.
I don't want to taint their idea of it. Um, let them get their thoughts and ideas out there, and then I can come in and say, okay, that love what you're thinking. Let me tell you what I have seen, and can see if there's any issues and things like this. And then if it's an investor client, I can tell
Hmm.
them right off the bat, okay, if what do you want to do?
Yeah,
One, is everything going like all lights and
yeah.
everything? Okay, great. Then here's what it's going to be. If it's clients, I can say, okay, here's some things that there could be potential
Hmm.
issues, maybe yellow light type stuff. I can say, well, maybe we asked when their inspection report comes back, like, okay, we probably should ask for these things to be fixed, or we're gonna say, if the seller can't fix those things for whatever reason,
Hmm.
finances or whatever, then we say, okay, well, how about we take and give us a little bit of concession money so that
Yeah,
my clients can have those
be able
problems
to do it.
fixed
Yeah.
after the fact. Yeah.
And I think that's a great point too, is a lot of folks don't think about concessions as a
Yeah.
big portion of that. So it's a great thing to think about. Wrapping up here, Christian, first of all,
Sure.
thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
And again, if people are wanting to reach out to you for either buying a home, investing,
Hmm.
or any electrical work, what is the best way to get a hold of you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. My main phone number is basically it. I use it for my electrical and my
Mm,
real estate, 317-935-6355. Very easy. Facebook, you can find my personal page, Christian Coram, ChristianCoram. And I also have my real estate business page, Christian Coram EXP Realty. So you can find me there. I am on Instagram,
yeah,
the Handy Realtor,
Andy Realtor.
on Instagram. Let's see. Also on LinkedIn, I think you could
Yeah.
just find me through Christian Quorum. And I'm trying to think if there's anything. I think that's pretty much
Perfect.
it. Yeah.
No, that's great. We'll link that stuff in the description as well for
Nice.
people to get a hold of you. Thank you so much again for being here.
Yeah. Thank
I'm
you.
Kurt with Mamba Mortgage. So if you guys ever have any questions specifically related to maybe buying your first house, getting into an investment property, or even selling, because a lot of the beautiful part of this is I can connect you with folks like Christian as well. So
Mhm.
if you have questions about your financing, man, reach out to me here at Mamba Mortgage. All right, would love to hear from you and help you guys on your journey. Other than that, thank you guys and have an awesome rest of your day.